Alright, here we go with part 6 of this Macrame Mandala bag. And the first thing you're going to do when you're at this stage is you're going to flip your whole thing inside out, because we are going to tighten and cut the strings that we made the middle section with. So I'm going through it really fast because it's nothing technical going on. I just went through and separated, like there should be 3 strings for each row on each side, and so I just went through and made sure that they were all really tight, and put 2 on one side and 1 on the other side, so I could just go down the row and snip it off easily. And then once you have them all tightened and cut, you'll burn them. So that's all we're doing at the very beginning here. This just gives you a more clean work environment to finish this thing up. So this is part 6, and there's part 7 and 8. I had to break it up into 3 parts because I can only have half-hour long videos using free software. I mean, can't afford the expensive fancy stuff no more. Anyways, so as you can see, I'm just like taking 2 on one side and 1 on the other, tightening it. And this way also, when you're tightening it, when you flip it back around to the right side, you'll see that you will not be able to see any of those strings. It'll just be purple meeting the 2 mandalas. So yeah, if you want, you can go ahead and speed this part up. Not much going on. So I just burned all the edges, and in this little tiny section where we added in those 40 small things, I'm just giving a quick little snip, and then I'm also gonna burn these ends, and so then your whole inside of the bag part will be totally finished. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take strings I have from, I'm starting from, I don't know, it doesn't even really matter, from one side. I'm going to take whatever strings that I had left from the very left side of my bag, and I'm just going to knot them over and create a third row. Honestly, like, by the time I was done with this, I kind of wish I hadn't done this, but I thought it would give it a little bit more stability and structure, but it didn't really. So if you want, you can just totally skip this step and go ahead and cut what's there already. But if you want to try it and see what yours looks like, this is just me showing like how I'm just taking what strings I had in the project and creating a third row for the top of the bag before we start doing we're gonna do like a square knot weave pattern that's gonna like fold over the top opening, and then I'm gonna use like a kind of button that will sew into one side to secure it down. So anyways, again, like this step here is really up to you if you want to try it and see how you like it, and if you don't, you can always undo the knots. Like, don't cut or burn anything until you've sort of sat with it for a minute and see how you feel about it. I was kind of like rushing to try to get this project done, so I did it and I just let it be. So yeah, so this section and the next section, this I'm doing it while you can see it's sort of kind of like up in the air, and then I flip it around and I show it how you can do the same thing flat from the other side. So just watch if you want to watch, do if you want to do. Again, this part is really like it can be done and it cannot be done, you know. Another thing I did want to add about this whole project is once I get to a certain point, I had really wished that I added a liner to it, which I still can. If I flip the whole thing inside out, even once it's finished, you can add a lining to it because you do have a hole in the middle and little holes where the mandala was made. So if you have some fabric and you want to sew a lining in, you'll have to sew it in. You can do that now, you can do that later. Again, that's another choice that will be up to you. The purpose of this tutorial for me was just to simply show you how it is done. I learned from a tutorial that used much larger strings, and so I just wanted to show how it can also be done with micro macrame. And so yeah, that's it. I don't know what else there is in this video. I think oh yeah, towards the end, after I've done this, adding this third row at the top, I'll show you how we have to add in some even more strings to make the weave flap over part. So once I get to there, you'll hear my voice pop up again. All right. Okay, so what you're going to do is take 2 strings from either the left or the right side, it doesn't really matter. So if you have followed your project like mine, you should have 14 strings left over from the middle section, and in total I'm going to wind up adding 5 strings, so I will have a total of, I'm doing a reverse lark's head knot, so I'll have a total of 28 strings so that I can make 7 rows of square knots to start my I guess it's called a basket weave pattern, right? You do 1 row of square knots, then you do the ones in between and do it. If you've never seen that done, then definitely keep watching, and I'll show you how to do the first few rows. So I added 2 strings at the very beginning to fill a gap, and then it's just sort of like, I missed putting it over the 2 strings right there. So then it's just sort of like filling it in as you go along, like where you think you might need it. But the point of this is to try to make it a little bit wider than the opening you already have. If you don't want to do that, again, like, you don't have to, but I would recommend it. You want this is going to flap over the opening that we have left now at the top. If you count there in my video, you'll see there are 3 rows. That's what we just did. I keep counting my strings to make sure that I haven't forgotten or lost what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm gonna wind up with 28. I might have messed the video up a little bit, but I do know in fact that I added 5 strings using reverse lark's head, you know, where you find the middle and tie it onto your working strings, which is the 2 pink strings. Those 2 pink strings, I will tie them underneath, so hopefully you haven't cut, oh boy, hopefully you haven't cut all your strings off yet, that you left a couple under there, so that you have something to tie off to. If you by chance did cut, then you will need to use new strings that you can do this with. All you would have to do is just like take a couple strings, pin it down, make the row with the purple, adding on the new strings that you need, and then just simply find a spot and sew it in and tie it off in the back. It wouldn't be like the worst thing in the world. I wish I had thought about it sooner to show like either or as an option. So I think like I did make a mistake here. I tried to add too many onto this side here, and I realized I didn't like it, so I then like took 1 or 2 off. I don't remember, and but I know I only ended up with 5, so I had a total count of 28 strings coming down. So once you tie 1 string as a reverse lark's head, it becomes 2, right? Okay, so I did try to tie it off, and then I realized I didn't like it. It was too weird, too wide, almost too wide. So I took a couple off and then just wound up with 28 total strings going across, and then I start my square knot basket weave thing. So yeah, this is me saying, nope, don't like it. And this is totally like a common thing in macrame. I bet you we all do it. You don't know if you like or don't like something until you try it sometimes. You have to see it. Like, I'm a very visual person, so even if in my head I think it's gonna make sense, it doesn't always look right when I'm done. And it's even a little bit wonky to me. Like, it's not, I'm not super happy with it, but it's fine. It's gonna still like work out and be fine in the end. So here I'm counting. You're gonna want to make sure that you have 4, 4, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, and 4. Okay, and then in the next video we're gonna do the square knots.